The absolute most important thing about studying martial arts, and in our case, traditional Chinese Kung Fu, the most important thing, the most important asset or advantage that you will gain is that you will learn how to learn. You will learn the proper method of how to learn and become effective, efficient, and eventually master whatever you take up. Whether it be a sport, a musical instrument, a martial art, or your career in the future. That's what martial arts does. It teaches you the high skill of concentration. Here in Kung Fu Connection, we are truly fortunate because we have so many different styles of Kung Fu. And the styles eventually become relative to the individuals that study them. For example, it was common in China that the taller, skinny people would practice praying mantis. It was common that the shorter, stronger, wider people would study what? Tiger.
Oh, yeah.
Understand?
Yes, of course.
Now here, in Kung Fu Connection, we are blessed, truly blessed. I would go as far as to say that in the world, in the entire world, in the entire planet that we co-inhabit, there is no school that offers more styles than Kung Fu Connection. This was because of our master, our grandmaster, and our great grandmaster who devoted their lives to study. We actually house, I think it's just about 30 different styles in Kung Fu. You know what the main one is, right? The main base style that gives you all of your basics is what? What style is it? It's Shaolin, right? Shaolin, which is how we say it in Mandarin. In Cantonese, we call it Pak Siu Lam. This is the main style that you study until you become more advanced. Then you get the opportunity to learn praying mantis, or eagle claw, or choi li fat, or many other styles. One in particular, which is extremely rare, is the Southern Emperor's Fist. The Southern Emperor's Fist, which you can see the symbols highlighted in your t-shirt, where right here it says Zhongguo Mo Sat Guan, which means Chinese martial arts school, but on the inside of the diamond it says Song Pai Chong Kun, which means Song family long fist. Now, why do we say Song family? Because it came from the Song dynasty in China, which was the year 960 to 1279. This style was taught in China, but it was kept secret for the first 300 years. It was only taught to the imperial family and to the imperial guard, just so you know. The long fist from the emperor is actually considered to be the first organized style of martial arts. And it is truly revolutionary because it is a warfare style. Do you understand what that means, that it is a warfare style? It means that it is an offensive system that was used at war. It wasn't taught for self-defense. It wasn't taught to defend against a common robber or something like that. This was taught for war. To take your opponent down fast and go to the next one and go to the next one and go to the next one. This was the intention of the long fist. This is why the long fist is an offensive system, similar in many ways to choi li fat. Understand? Now, why is it an offensive system used in warfare? Why? Why? Very simple. Because the founder, whose name was Chao Kuan-yin, referred to as Song Taizhou, which means the grandfather, or the founder rather, of the Song dynasty. He was an emperor. But who was he before he was an emperor? Because in most cases in China, where did the emperors come from? Where did they come from? They came from families, royal families. That's where they came from. The emperor died, his son went in and took over. And then his son went in and took over by decree, by royal decree. This was not the case with Emperor Song Taizhou. In fact, Emperor Song Taizhou was a general in the Chinese army. And he was such an effective and famous general that he was chosen, believe it or not, by the warlords of all the different provinces to be emperor. He was chosen. They said, you are such a great general, and you are such an honorable man with such great ethics. We want you to become emperor. And do you know how he stayed emperor? Because you know in China, when an emperor goes up, he's always challenged right away. Do you know how he stayed as emperor? He didn't have to use his fist. He didn't have to go to the different provinces and defeat the different warlords. He didn't have to do that. You know what he did? You know what he used? He used his brain and his sense of integrity. And he gathered all of the warlords from all of the provinces together, and he told them, look, this is your land, okay? And this is your land, this is your land, this is your land. You have that piece, you have that piece, you have that. I'm not going to try to take away your land. I'm not going to storm into your cities and try to steal all of your goods and your farming and everything. I'm not going to do it. What's yours is yours, what's yours is yours, what's yours is yours, and what's yours is yours, okay? Okay?
Sorry.
But I'm the emperor. And for the first time, he brought peace and unity to China. This was the founder of our long fist system. So when you learn Jiap Xiao Ma, you're studying his style. Now keep in mind that there's a differentiation in between the long fist, Choy Li Fut, which were essentially warfare styles, and Shaolin. Why? Because Shaolin came from where? From the temple. It came from the monks. And what was the decree of the monks? Well, they're not allowed to hurt people. So even in the Shaolin temple, the monks, primarily as a weapon to defend the temple, used what? The staff. That's it. They didn't use the sword, they didn't use the spear. They just used the staff. Little by little, as centuries went on, and the Shaolin temple was overthrown by many, many, many different emperors and governments from China, and then rebuilt, little by little, the Shaolin temple started adopting other weapons from other styles of Kung Fu in order to be able to defend the temple, defend their religion, and defend the country. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is your history. This is now, believe it or not, this is now the history that you belong to. You should be proud, and you should make your best effort to set the best example. Because as the monks used to say, and you can see it in the decree that we have from the temple, which this is an exact replica, it states that all of the movements have been the same for thousands and thousands of years. And the purpose of those movements is to make the world a better place. This is the purpose of Kung Fu. You don't study Kung Fu so you can beat people up. You study Kung Fu so that you have that skill so you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand?
Yes, it is.
Good. I hope that you're all proud. And I thank you again, and I thank the families for making Kung Fu Connection your center for education in Chinese martial arts. And now we're going to bow out. Again, I congratulate you. Everybody stand up.